What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Premodern video. Today we're going to be playing in the Premodern Challenge, which is this monthly-ish events that happen on MTGO. They're great, super chill, and we're going to be trying out a brand new deck. I guess it's not really a brand new deck, it's like a classic deck, but it was inspired by another deck that I played in a previous video not so long ago, so let's check it out. So as I said in my previous Academy Rector video, I've been thinking about this card a lot, and immediately after I submitted the deck that you probably watched, and you should have watched, about trying Cocoa Pebbles or that kind of combo in Premodern, I was immediately started asking myself the question, can I make the mana base a little bit cleaner? Because I thought that, in that video, the 4-color mana base really came back to bite me a couple of times. So I was trying to see if there's any way to make it a little bit more lean. And we came back to a deck that people have been playing in the past with Recurrent Nightmare and Palinchron. So this is like an interesting combo that basically if you have 7 lands, you can like go infinite with Recurrent Nightmare and Palinchron. And in the past, we tried this with Maya Granger, but we were talking about this in the Discord with Galen, and he suggested Veteran Explorer, which means that you can actually get to 7 lands in play off of a much smaller base. Like, it requires less loops to do Palinchron things. I don't know if this is better than Granger because you're also ramping your opponent every time you go through this. So that part is a little bit iffy. But the idea is that now, because we are setting up this deck, in the past nobody really thought of actually making it more of a 3-color deck. Everybody was like playing straight black-green and then splashing Academy Rector like a single copy so they can find out survival, which is cool, but the place that I came to from this deck was from the other, which was already an Academy Rector deck. So this is what I ended up sort of reverse engineering as we talked with Galen and other people in the combo Discord. They suggested Krovikan Horror, which is a card that basically replaces the other squee, but as you are, drawing through your deck, because like once you get a Recurrent Nightmare and Palinchron, you make infinite mana if you have 7 lands, and then you can basically start to either draw your deck with Wall of Blossoms, gain infinite life with Spike Feeder, kill all of your opponent's creatures, you can destroy all of their enchantments, take all of their cards in hand. So at that point you can just figure out a bunch of ways, but I was interested in figuring out a way to kill immediately. Like, I don't want to give the turn back to my opponent. Now, funnily enough, I was watching YouTube and I was suggested a video by Grantfly, which is a Premodern YouTube content creator, which I'm going to link the video in the description down below. But what he found was that Palinchron plus Nightmare plus 6 mana, so you don't need to do 7, you don't need to go infinite with mana, you just need 6 lands, a Palinchron, Recurrent Nightmare, and a Triskelion. So that's a way to actually make infinite damage. But what I really liked about the Krovikan Horror is that it's actually very valuable once you have survival going to be able to get 2+ cards every turn, because Krovikan Horror, you get back at your end step and then at your opponent's end step, so it triggers twice a turn. So you can get multiple cards every single turn, and this is something that Fev decks have done in the past, just play 2 copies of Squee to play around like Furnaces and like Tormod Script and stuff. But also it just also happens to be a win condition. Once you have infinite mana, you play Krovikan Horror and you start like making infinite dudes with the Range Hermit, and then you can start to sacrifice those dudes to deal 1 point of damage for each one of them in the moment. You can actually end the game on the spot. You don't need to give your turn back, and then your opponent may be able to, I don't know, like replenish all of their enchantments back or something like that. So that doesn't really happen here. So I think the Palinchron idea is interesting, but it assumes, I feel like this is better. And if I ask Grantfly, I think he would probably believe the same thing. But the reason why he was doing it is because it's much easier to execute on MTGO. I'm not really concerned about that. Like, if my opponent doesn't want to concede to me making the combo, like, I don't care. Like, whatever, I'll just concede and time out. It's fine. Like, I just want to make sure that I'm trying out the deck as I believe would be the ideal way to build it. So I feel like the interesting thing about this deck is that we have a combo, but we're not trying to race to the combo. So if we're playing against some other like faster combo decks, like for example Dreadnought, like and we did that in the previous video as well a couple of times with the Pebbles combo, we're not racing to the combo. We're just sort of playing a solid, well-rounded mid-range game with a bunch of walls, spike feeders, like Bone Shredders, getting value with Nightmare and the Range Hermit. So we're doing like Parallax Wave, Auramancer to like infinitely loop this. So we are trying to play like a value game that just plays to the board and interacts with what my opponent is doing, and then eventually on like turn 12 or something, you set up the combo and you win out of nowhere. So this means that we are sort of a control deck of sorts, like more like a survival control deck that then eventually just closes the game immediately. Sure, you can try to race to a combo, so like that actually gives you an out to get there, but I'm not from turn 1 trying to figure out, okay, how quick can I combo, unless, you know, we are in a matchup that I know I'm playing against Replenish or something, I know that I need to combo quickly. So yeah, I think that it adds a very interesting dynamic to this sort of deck. I think I really like the main deck. The very last card that I added was the third copy of Rector. This could be a 2 Rector deck or a 3 Rector deck. I think I want it to be a 3, but 2 is also reasonable. Like, I'm still not sure how much I want to lean on Rector, and you're gonna see that in the sideboard. That in the past I was playing like a Sphere of Law and stuff like that. Here I'm not really going that deep into that angle. I have the Plagues that I'm very, very happy to just cast in the matchups where I wanted for, but it's not really something that I'm, you know, I could play like 2 copies of Plague and like do it with the Rectors. Like, I'm not leaning too heavily on the Academy Rectors themselves. So we don't have like an art of enchantment toolbox. We're much more of a survival deck. So I think that Rector is gonna be fetching survival like 80% of the time or something. So yeah, so that's the idea for the main deck. As far as the sideboard, we just have some good cards all around. Duresses, Naturalize, like the cards that you would expect. We have some Scented Swarm, Withered Wretch, Spike Feeder, no surprises there. The singleton that may come as a little bit of a new thing is the Graveborn Muse. I'm bringing this one in because, and I have it in the sideboard, you know, like black-green survival decks have been playing Graveborn Muse as a card that you get once you have, like, if your opponent like naturalizes your survival, you fetch out the Graveborn Muse as a Phyrexian Arena on a stick, so it also beats down, which is cool. But also I love the card, and I didn't include it in the main deck, notably because I have access to Auramancer. So Auramancer in the main deck feels like a better inclusion for those kind of matchups, but if I get paired against a blue deck, for example, and I don't really care about the combo, I'd much rather just have access to an extra Graveborn Muse, you know. It's also possible to play the Muse in the main deck, maybe over the second Deranged Hermit. I don't know, like, I feel like there's a ton of room to try things out with a deck like this. So this is my very first attempt at it after some like theory crafting and stuff, but this is far from a finished product as of right now. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm excited to try it out in this event. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you for round number 1. And here we go, it's time for round 1 of the Premodern Challenge. This hand is a little bit iffy. We're on the draw against Artie. Artie likes either Growatog or just combo decks. This hand seems pretty solid against Growatog, but it's definitely not good against any combo deck. I'm probably just keeping anyway. Like, it's just well-rounded enough, unfortunately for me. Okay, now this became a lot better against both Growatog and combo decks. A Darker Waste. So this could be the Breakfast deck. Yeah, this is probably that. It's not a breakfast. Yeah, Cephalid breakfast. Breakfast of the Cephalid variety. Heath therapies. Good thing that I showed a forest. Like, it's pretty unlikely that they name anything that I have in hand. If I had played Caves of Koilos, I think it's more likely that he names Mesmeric Fiend or something. But yeah, he named Library, which is a good thing to name. Either Library or Survival, I feel like, are the best things to name here. So now I think we're just gonna go for Mesmeric Fiend and take a peek at what he's cooking with over there. Illusionist and a bunch of cards that don't do anything. So I think I'm gonna be taking the Illusionist here. Actually, if I take the Reclamation, can he win? That is really interesting. Can he actually win if I do that? Because he mills, I mean, I guess he just doesn't mill the entire deck. Yeah, so I guess Closer Reclamation doesn't work, so I'll just take the Illusionist. I'm definitely gonna ask Artie later about that. So he just goes land and pass. We're going to play a wall, play a feeder, and just pass the turn. We're just trying to get him dead ASAP here. So nothing to hide. Just gonna go for it with the attacks. Next turn we can drop a Deranged Hermit. I've been outplayed with my opponent having a superior Caves of Koilos. So let's get in there for 2. Does it matter if I play the Windswept Heath? This is the card that he knows about. I think I'm gonna play it because of that. Also, I guess, yeah, I don't think it matters too much, to be honest with you. So this is the clock. I mean, he doesn't really have that much time. He only has 1 unknown as of right now, and I'm definitely paying Echo here. And we swing for a lot of damage. So this is 9, 10, 11, down to 5. He has painless sources, so I don't think it really changes anything. Okay, we got there, game 1. Game number 2. Withered Wretch sounds decent here. Source to Plowshares also sounds pretty good. I feel like this is not at all a combo matchup, so we can get rid of the Palinchron, can get rid of Provoking Horror. I guess Bone Shredder is reasonable. Artifacts they could have probably just Furnace. So I guess I don't want the Naturalizes, but I do want the random Octavi. Monk Realist is an interesting one. Same with Engineered Plagues. I feel like a Singleton Plague I'm going to put in my deck because I can find it with Academy Rector. So that's the first copy seems worth including. I don't know if it's worth including the other ones though. Spike Feeder can probably go, and I guess I can cut a Recurring Nightmare, maybe for a Duress. I'm somewhat interested in this Graveborn Muse. Not like super interested, but we need one more card. Maybe the one Duress? Just a second Plague I think is gonna be more impactful. I am on the draw, however. So maybe being on the draw means I should value Duress a little bit higher, because my opponent's gonna have the upper hand, because I may not even have enough time to get to cast a second Plague. Parallax Wave sounds very sexy against my opponent's deck. Like sits in play, literally can't do anything about it until they get rid of it. Yeah, let's go with this. This looks like a solid setup. Also, Veteran Explorer, very good in this matchup. With my opponent playing no basics at all, because they're playing the Hermit. Oh man, this hand. If only I had a green source. Am I keeping this anyway? I think I'm keeping this anyway. This is a very strong hand. Did that just enable? Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it. If I find a green source, I have 16 green sources. Whoops. Oh, there we go. So now we're cooking. Okay, so let's go turn 1 Bird. Never punished. I could have plowed there. I think I don't want to. Not yet, at least. That's a Hermit Druid. So we kind of need to draw something here. So I'm gonna plow right now so that he doesn't have a... yeah, let's plow the Hermit now. He's gonna sack the portal to save it. But that puts him back a mana. I think that's reasonable. And the question now is, what do I therapy? Because he has the 1-card combo instead of the 2-card combo. So Shallow Grave, Reanimate. He probably has more Reanimates than Shallow Graves. So I think I name Reanimate. He's got Exhume. I don't think I care about Exhume. Do I care about like, the Dambrie's Call though? So I'm gonna be dead next turn. I guess I do care about Exhume, but not this turn. I'm just gonna send it back. So this is the turn where he activates the Druid, mills his entire deck, plays the City. Notably, City of Brass and Rifttone Portal, not a combo. The wording on City of Brass is a little bit sad for the Riftstone. He can get Painless Green or White off the Llanowar Waste. Can't do much about this part. My best draw here, probably Withered Wretch. I mean, actually it's Survival because he cannot win in this turn or the next one. I think he's 1 mana short of doing so. No, never mind. He can actually kill next turn. Like he activates the Hermit Druid this turn. And then, no, because he needs to be able to also cast the Cross and Reclamation. So no, he cannot actually win here. So Survival would be my best draw, because it allows me to get the Withered Wretch on the following turn. Engineer played on Human, quite strong here. So maybe I should be playing more copies. I mean, I definitely wanted more copies. I only played the rest instead because I was on the draw. But now, knowing about the Safekeeper, I'm a little bit more interested in playing more copies of Plague. On the play, I feel like I may even play all 3, because I can go turn 1 Bird, turn 2 Plague, get rid of whatever 1-drop they played. He main phase activates Druid. Very interesting. Okay, so we still know about his hand, which is Exhume. This got very confusing, so I'm just gonna write it down. Exhume, Druid, and Call. So he's gonna be flashing back some Cabal therapies. Names Academy Rector. Now he knows that I got nothing. Swings for 1, like a champion. So we can get rid of the Exhume, but that's gonna force him to bring it back to spend a turn casting the Cross from Proclamation. Alternatively, again, now for sure, because he main phase activated, now I can just top deck. I didn't, but I could have top decked Wretch, get rid of the Reclamation, and just win on the spot. Oh, he has 2 Reclamations, so I mean, still, I have enough mana to do both. But so yeah, he has 1 Terravor, 2 Terravors. He's got the Ghoul and the Dragon Breath, 2 Cross and Reclamations. Yeah, so by flashing back Therapy, I basically gain 1 turn. The question is if I play the land. I think I want to avoid playing the land if I can. So that forces him to play around Source to Plowshares or something. So play the Wall of Roots. And we're gonna flashback Therapy. And we're going to name Exhume. Sacrificing the bird. Name Exhume. Okay, so we got rid of the Exhume. His hand is Eladambri's Call, Hermit Druid, Ray of Revelation. And I'm gonna play another wall and send the turn back. So now he has to activate on upkeep. If we draw survival, we win. If we draw wretch, we win. What else can we draw? I feel like that's it. Source to Plowshares doesn't do anything because of the Safekeeper. Frozen Wreck, targeting Reanimate and Reflecting Pool. So he can't draw both. He's only gonna draw one of those. He drew the pool. His hand is Druid Call Ray. So now this is the turn. Top deck one time, another land. That means that we're cooked. We cannot put enough toughness in front of the Terravore to actually prevent all the damage. So we're gonna cast the Squeak because he knows about it, but we're dead. We're not gonna be able to stop. Like the Terravores are gonna be too... The Ghoul is gonna be too large. Now he draws the Reanimate. He's gonna make a beefy Ghoul. And at this point, Source to Plowshares, which is kind of what I'm representing here, doesn't matter. If I had Naturalize, that would buy me one more turn. So that's a notable thing. Maybe I should have a Singleton Ray for that reason. I definitely want to take a good look at how he sideboarded, but I think it's going to change pretty dramatically between game 1 and game 2. Yeah, so he reanimates the Ghoul, Siles, Divorce, makes it 36, Dragon Breath, and we are going to concede. So they have Guido Slinger, so he's prepared for the Wretch. Shallow Grave, we have 1, 2, 3, probably 4 reanimates. No, it's 3 reanimates? No, 4 reanimates, 1 Shallow Grave, which is interesting, and 1 Exhume. So I guess with Therapy, we're basically always naming Reanimate. Gorilla Shaman is good to know about, but I think he's going to side this out now that he knows more about my deck. So now, I mean, I don't think I want the Ray, like it only buys me a turn. Uktavi only answers Mox Diamond. I don't think it's worth playing Uktavi just for Mox Diamond, so I'd rather have another Plague there. And oddly enough, I think I'd rather have the Muse than the second Hermit. Ray is very interesting to me, but I don't think it's better than my other options. Could consider a Ray over a Duress, but I think Duress is just better. Definitely want to be on the play, and we have a no-lander. This is a one-lander. Very good one-lander to be fair, but we're gonna go to 5. This one I do like quite a bit, so let's keep this. Bottom the Recurrent Nightmare for sure. I think I'm gonna go bottom the Wall of Roots. Turn 1, birds. We find a land, we can next turn go wall into Rector. Wall into Therapy into Rector, which is nice. Turn 1 Therapy, let's see what he names. Survival. Not this time, my friend. So we're just going to play a Wall of Roots and pass the turn. Maybe I should just be using Therapy to name Hermit Druid. Nice pickup. Very nice pickup. So Mesmeric Fiend, that's a super nice draw. Maybe a land would have been better. No, actually, this is better than a land, because I want to draw a land next turn anyway, so... He's got stuff. He's definitely got stuff over there. He knows about my hand. So if we just take the call here, we are in pretty good shape. So yeah, let's take the call. And I'm still gonna Therapy this turn just because I want to make sure that I'm using it right now. Because I have the mana next turn, I want to be able to Rector and immediately sacrifice. The rest doesn't matter, Cross on Wreck doesn't matter, so I'm just going to name Reanimate. Reanimate is gone, 3 cards in hand, Duress, Cross on Reclamation, Exhume. Draws a land for turn, and Duress is... oh, I guess he doesn't know about the other wall, so it's not unreasonable for him to Duress there. That's a great draw, so now we're going to be very cooking. We're going to name Exhume and get my Survival into play. Oh, he Cross on Wrecks here. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, now he's down to 0 cards, so I guess it's still okay. Only problematic thing is we have no clock at all. I forgot that he could use the Cross on Reclamation as a hate card against Rector. Slightly awkward. Hermit. That's pretty good. That's a good draw, Artie. That's a pretty good draw, I'm gonna say. Alright, so I guess this game is completely turned around now. So I'm gonna play out my land here. I'm still gonna hold on to the Wall of Roots. I guess maybe I should have played it out because like he knows about this anyway. So he's not gonna win next turn, but he's gonna win on the following turn. So I need once again to top deck Wither the Wretch. If I top deck Wretch, I win. Yeah, I should have played out the wall. Because he should definitely flashback Therapy to bring me down to no cards. Because now if I top deck Survival, it doesn't do anything. Otherwise, if I top deck Survival, I just win. Wow, that was kind of a big mistake. He should have flashed back Therapy. He knows about the wall. Because now if I top deck Survival, I play Survival, discard this, fetch for Wretch, cast the Wretch, and now I have the second Wall of Roots activation as a way to... Now it doesn't matter. Now I'm just dead unless he sided out one of the Terravores, which I doubt he did. Yeah, both Terravores are there. Yeah, okay. That's unfortunate. That's very unlucky. Man, that one top deck Hermit Druid. Pretty good timing to top deck that. Not gonna lie. Yeah, so here comes back that Ghoul. We can soak up 10 damage. Nowhere close to enough. We still take 24. These are my blocks. Still dead. That's round number 1. GG, sorry. See you for the next. On to round number 2. We're on the draw. But this hand, I think it's strong enough to keep. Pretty robust hand. Definitely could use some lands. I mean, I'm gonna Therapy on 1. And I'm gonna assume that my opponent's playing Dreadnought. I think I'm gonna name Phyrexian Dreadnought. Mostly because I lose if they do have it. And I have more therapies for later. Okay, so it's Powder Keg. Alright. They have Force Spike and some other stuff. Okay, this sounds reasonable. Second land, which is cool. That's a nice pickup. So let's go land into Cabal Therapy again. Obviously, I'm not gonna run this into Parallax Tide. I think we'll just name Powder Keg here. I could name Parallax Tide instead, but just getting the 2 for 1. No, actually, I'm gonna name Parallax Tide. Yep, I'm gonna let my opponent have the kegs. If they want to drop a keg, I don't really care about it. Cycle AK, play the land, and now we're gonna get to resolve Survival, which is how we win. Get a Forest, play Survival of the Fittest, send it back. Play another Powder Keg, totally cool. Here on end step, I'm gonna pitch Bone Shredder and get Squeak. Untap. Bird of Paradise is not bad. Is this actually a situation where I get the Veteran Explorer? I think I'm gonna get Wild Blossoms instead. Draw a card and send the turn back. I don't think these kegs matter. I'm just playing a bunch of lands. We're just going to, I think, pitch the bird here and get Mesmeric Fiend. Untap, get back Squee, and this Fiend is gonna give us a lot of much better idea of what we should do. We know about the Force Spike. Chain of Vapor, Force Spike is their hand. Sounds very bad for them. So they can blow this up though. So I'm just gonna take the chain there, pitch Squee again. And I am gonna go for the Veteran Explorer here. Flashback Therapy, sacrificing the Explorer. Get a couple of swamps. I am gonna name Force Spike. And now we know they have chain, so I'm just going to play Recurring Nightmare. And I think I am getting back a Bird of Paradise here, sacrificing the wall. Now we're looking in a very strong position. Like, my opponent's kegs don't really do anything. Only problem is like this Mesmeric Fiend. Like, if my opponent draws a Parallax Tide, we're actually in trouble because they can just kill my Fiend immediately, which is quite awkward. And as is, we can make infinite mana and draw our entire deck if I'm correct here. So let's play my land. I think I can set it up for the following turn. So let's do this. And I'm going to just do this twice. Sacrificing the Mesmeric Fiend so they get back their chain. Draw a card. That's kind of nice, but not what I'm gonna do right now. And now we're going to get back the Fiend, draw another card from their hand. Man, they're just not catching a break over there. They Recurring Nightmare again and just pass the turn back. Actually, I think that it's better for me to just Cabal Therapy right now, sacrificing the Fiend, so that I just get the Chain of Vapor from their hand. This means that now if they draw Tide, I still win. So now they can bounce whatever they want, but I don't really care. But I don't want my opponent to have this Powder Keg in play, and they can, at any point, they bounce their own keg. I don't think that's what you wanted to do, opponent. I think they got a little bit cheeky there, because now I'm just going to name Powder Keg. They should have just bounced my Recurring Nightmare or Survival or whatever, and I'm just going to name Powder Keg. So that was like a really, really good line for me. Okay, that worked out. So now that next turn, we're going to begin the turn by Mesmeric Fiending, and then we're just gonna be good to go here. So let's float a green, Nightmare the Fiend to know what my opponent has in hand, just an island. Okay, so now we just go infinite. So pitch Squee, get Pally, pitch Pally, Robikin Horror. Guess I can just get Uktabi. I mean, it doesn't matter, I'm just gonna draw my entire deck right now. So get Pally, sacrificing Mesmeric Fiend. Okay, my opponent just concedes. So infinite mana, and I just do the entire combo thingy. Good showing, good showing. So let's bring in Gravemore Muse. I think I want, obviously, the Duresses, obviously the Sanded Swarms. I cut the Palinkron, cut the Veteran Explorer, cut the Spike Feeder, and the Bone Shredder. We need one more cut. Moncrealis probably. I kind of do want the Naturalizes, but are they better than any of my other cards? I don't think so. So I think I'm gonna submit this right here. Yep, this hand looks pretty good. I'm gonna Duress on turn 1 actually, because I want to play around Force Spike. Thawing Glaciers, that's pretty hot. I think I just take the Factor Fiction here, and I work through the counter magic. If I'm not gonna draw land, Cabal Therapy is a good pickup. Mana Leak, Thawing Glaciers. We drew that, and we get to play Wall of Roots. See, my opponent counters, they don't, so we get to double spell here. Not going to allow my opponent to use their mana efficiently. Just going to let them go. Sure. Actually, it's quite interesting that they would let me flashback here. This is super interesting. You can drop Recurrent Nightmare. I think I want to flashback first, sacrificing the Wall of Roots. Obviously named Counterspell. They have Counterspell, Island, Parallax Tide. So now I get to take the Tide with this Mesmeric Fiend. It's very inefficient use of my mana, but I need my lands, so this is unfortunately what I have to do. And activate Glaciers. They're doing the thing, so let's take one. Let's play a Rector. Keep on keeping on with that Furnace. It's a fetch land, so let's fetch the Plains. Cast Parallax Wave. Get in there. Send the turn back. They continue to do Thawing Glaciers things. Factor Fiction's bad for me. So their lands don't matter. They have all the lands that they could want. So I'm just going to pull the Counterspell with the lands, I think. Counterspell is, I think, the card I care the most about here. So they have AK and Chain in hand. Main phase, cast AK. And tap. Would love to draw Survival. Ha! Man, I love being good at this game. I love being this good. Send the turn back. They chain my Fiend. So I guess they drew another Chain of Vapor. That would suck for me. But I guess it is what it is. I could have exiled the Mesmeric Fiend there with the Parallax Wave. Not sure if that's the line. Okay, so there's the Tide. So they have Stifle, I guess? Sure. Now we're going to pitch... I guess do I even activate here? What am I getting? I guess I want to get a Bear the Paradise in case I... So I'm going to pitch the Auramancer. I'm going to get a Bear the Paradise in case I don't find a land. Second, Duress is a very good draw. Duress you, I'm going to take your Stifle. Opponent exiles in response. Ha! Got him! So opponent's got one turn to find another Stifle. I guess it needs to be Stifle and counter. Main phase Impulse. Because if I find the land, I can just Mesmeric Fiend the Stifle from my opponent's hand anyway. Curse Totem! That's pretty good. That is actually quite good. Not gonna lie. Swamp is gonna get played out. Going for Rector. So now we have no more combos with Parallax Wave, which is unfortunate because our Auramancer is gone. Let's see if they found another Stifle. Okay, good. No other Stifle. Alright, so green mana. I'm gonna pitch this bird that doesn't do much. We're going to get Graveworm Muse is very exciting actually. I think I just get the Santid Swarm though. Untap. It's a nice pickup. So play the Swarm on encounters. Last card in hand is an island. So we know that this is good to resolve now. We're gonna get back the Santid Swarm, sacrificing the bird. This may prompt the Furnace to be sacrificed. I'm deep into tag about this one, and rightfully so. They Glaciers in response, which doesn't really do anything. And they don't do it. Okay, swing for one. I love how little this wave did, but also how much it did. It just sat there and kind of did nothing forever, but it also kind of did some stuff. So I'm just gonna go pitch this Fiend to get Uktabi. Any creature is a fine pickup there, I think. Swing with Swarm. Notably, opponent gets to block here, but I don't think that's a problem, because now we get to Uktabi, blow up Furnace, and either the Fiend or the Santid Swarm is coming back. This Recurrent Nightmare that my opponent knows that I have in hand. Okay, so the Swarm is gone, so I'll now play Recurrent Nightmare, get back the Fiend, sacrificing the Rector. Notably, Rector cannot really get too much value here. I think I'm just going to get another Nightmare. Opponent has not too great of a hand, which is good for me. That's the turn. So they have a mana leak that I can very easily play around. Quicksand, and we're getting aggressive. I also just realized that this says attacking creature without flying. I don't think you want to trade with my Uktabi, my opponent. I don't agree with this line. Unless they drew another Furnace. Maybe that would be a way to justify that. So they get the Glaciers back. Now the wave is gone. Fine. So let's start off with... And I can go get another Fiend. Let's play a second Nightmare actually. And see what my opponent does. Nothing. So now that I resolved what I wanted to resolve, I'm going to give my opponent back their mana leak and get back my Uktabi Orangutan. Bye bye Curse Totem. And now get back Fiend. Still nothing for opponent over there. Pitch Bird of Paradise. Get Squee. Oh, I should have get Krovikan Horror actually. I messed that up. Should have been the other way around. My bad. AK, that's a draw too. It's not bad. The Conclave of the Fae. Replay the Glaciers. Pitch Squee on end step. Guess we get Santid Swarm here. Or just another Mesmeric Fiend. I think we just get another Mesmeric Fiend. Untap, get Squee. Gonna lead on Fiend. Take a peek. Double Chain of Vapor. Okay. So here's Recurrent Nightmare. So what we can do now is we can activate Survival, pitch Squee, and we can get the Rainish Hermit, and now pitch Hermit to get, I guess, Krovikan Horror, and now Recurrent Nightmare to get the Hermit by sacrificing the wall. I guess I could have sacrificed the Mesmeric Fiend. Maybe it was better to sacrifice the Mesmeric Fiend, because my sources are painful. which is very annoying. Conclave is getting in there. And that's it. So we're definitely not paying Echo. We are getting back Squee though. Cast Nightmare. Annul. Second Nightmare. So now they can bounce and Mana Leak, which I think it's fine. Swing for 4. We only have 6 minutes left in clock. Should probably speed this up, huh? This is quite annoying. Another land's not great, but I have to do what I gotta do. I guess let's Fiend first. Just take a peek. Chain my chained dude. That's fine. That's not a good line. My opponent has made a couple of mistakes that felt suboptimal. Yeah, survival doesn't matter anymore. So last card is an island, so I can now cast this Krovikan Horror. And this does protect me from the Fairy Conclave, unless they find another Chain of Vapor. It would need to be the last Chain of Vapor, I think. Yeah, Chain of Vapor number 4. So if they have Chain of Vapor number 4, they win. If they don't, we win. Because I'm just threatening lethal next turn. So they have this turn to find Chain of Vapor. AK. So draw 3. Only 16 cards left in their deck. So it's not super unlikely for them to find a chain. I guess Tithe also beats me. Because they can Tithe. Yeah. They take my land and they have exactly enough mana to swing for lethal. They activate at beginning of combat. One turn too late. That was a cool game. That was a cool game. Game number 3. I still don't think I care about Engineered Plague. Naturalize is kind of interesting. Once again, I don't think it's better than my other alternatives. Maybe Parallax Wave is not good enough. Nah, I think it's still better than Engineered Plague. Game number 3. We're gonna have to play really quickly here. This hand looks fantastic. Turn 1, Birds of Paradise. Turn 2, Survival. Question is, do I play around the null? I think I do. Gonna name, and they had it, but they also have the Chain of Vapor, awkwardly enough. So I actually cannot play Survival, the Force Spike. So I actually cannot play the Survival here. I mean, I could have, but I don't want to like sacrifice a land to do so. They have Island into Furnace, which is pretty good for them. That's a very nice top deck. So Cabal Therapy U. I think we name Powder Keg here, and we play Survival. Fetch here for another green source. We have a lot of painless green sources now, which is nice. Pitch, Rector. I think we're just gonna get Santid Swarm. Very nice pickup. I'm just gonna flashback right now. Gonna name Chain of Vapor here. They can bounce my Survival. Slightly annoying. Yeah. So I guess I still activate, because if my opponent wants to Force Spike this, that's also... actually, never mind. I just let that go. Force Spike. Still another Chain of Vapor. Play the island and go. Move to combat real quick. Very Conclave. I think I'm actually gonna play the Muse here, and we'll get this party started. I chain it. Black Source is a great draw because it allows me to... Whoa, yeah, nice. So we take the FOF. I think I run the Muse into the counterspell. Resolving Survival sounds more important. I think this is the point where my opponent should cycle the Phyrexian Furnace. They have no cards. Well, I'm actually gonna play the Hermit now and raise them. It's pretty bad if they top deck exactly Powder Keg, but this wins the race, and now they cycle. Powder Keg would definitely be very annoying though. Alright, opponent's coming in. Wait for Echo. Yes, please. Pretty decent top deck, not gonna lie. Take 9. Main phase Factor Fiction. I guess it's Powder Keg versus everything else, which is pretty funny, because they die otherwise. Like they can like Tithe me next turn, whatever. I just lose. So it's definitely a weird split, but I think it's the right one. They didn't take the keg. Okay, so they have AK, swing for a bunch, down to 3, Survival, Annul, Survival again, Pitch, Squee, and we get Santid Swarm, I guess. So now they can't AK plus Tithe plus stop my board. They're just dead. Gonna bring that back. Actually, I'm not gonna... yeah, this is a free attack, I guess. They have to actually block the squirrels. So we kill 2 of their lands, Pitch, Squee, get Krovikan Horror, cast Krovikan Horror, ping you for lethal. Alright, there we go. That was fun. Pretty good victory. Interesting spot, right? Like my opponent, like that was a great Factor Fiction split, I think. Because like Powder Keg matters, the other cards do not, so... It's possible my opponent should have just like kept the Powder Keg and just gave up the value, but who can give up a 4-1 split, right? Nobody can. It's just the way it goes. See you for the next round. We move on to round number 3 against the one and only Cider Punker. Been a minute since I got to play against Stan. He's back. Probably playing Madness because that's just what he does. And this hand looks, I guess, decent enough. We're still missing a little bit of a oomph. That's what this hand is lacking. Some oomph. Oh, we have decent mana. We have our engine. Turn 1, Careful Study. Question is, will we play around Daze or not? I guess it depends on what he does. Frantic Search, Squee. So not a great Careful Study. I guess we get to play around Daze if we want. I'm gonna run this Wall of Roots into Daze. Like, if he dazes this, then that time walks him, so I'm kind of okay with that. And I should not have F6, did not mean to F6. I definitely wanted to play the bird. Let's get survival. Okay, it's gonna be a long game then. The bird, there's another bird. I think I'd rather take the point than take the Wall of Roots counter. Maybe that's wrong. But yeah, that turn I could have played Recurrent Nightmare plus something like plus the bird had I played the bird earlier. Oh, it's a classic madness mana base right there. It's most likely gonna name survival with this. Makes sense. It's a pretty nice pickup. I'm gonna play that while he's tapped out. This is definitely one he was not expecting. I can tell you that much. He's gonna be thinking about that one. So whenever we do draw survival, we can just get rid of that Meddling Mage to clear the way. But it's cool that we don't even have to. We can just hang out here. We can block the mage. I mean, he can go get Wonder, but that's like his entire turn. Going to get a Fading counter off. We're going to play a Recurring Nightmare. See what he does. Frantic Search and Response. Looking for a counter spell, I guess. Between Survival and Squee. If he does go for the counter spell, I'm gonna play the second Recurrent Nightmare. If he has Daze, he has Daze. He does have Daze. That sucks, but it's okay. Opponent's Rudwelling over there. Maybe that was unnecessary. Maybe I could just play the Spike Feeder instead of Recurrent Nightmare there. Which, if it gets Dazed, I don't care. Yeah, maybe that was better. Waterfront Bouncer. Interesting pickup. I wonder why he's just not, well, getting Wonder. Wonder why no Wonder. Which is a fun thing to say. Blocking Mage here. If he wants to pump to get in some damage, be my guest. I guess my best draw here would be Auramancer. I mean, it's probably survival. It's most likely just survival. But I'm not drawing particularly well while he has an active survival, so I don't think this game is gonna go our way. Getting some Wallace into play. Don't think these do too much. Feeder also means my opponent can't really attack with the Meddling Mage. Oh, he did get the Wonder as the last card, so never mind. They're gonna be able to attack. They bounce my bird. Okay. I'm gonna be moving the counter over to the Bird of Paradise. So now we have a 1-2 bird. Now we are threatening to make it a 2-3, which means Meddling Mage can't attack. Mage is so innocuous, man. I love it. So we're not gonna block here. Actually, we should have blocked. I regret that immediately. We should have definitely blocked. Force the pump, then exile the Rudwala with Parallax Wave. That was definitely the line. Gets another Wala. No counterspell mana, notably. But with my opponent having a bunch of flyers, we could still technically get survival and maybe be in it, assuming no counter magic. Wastelands, which is correct, because I need the mana to get out of this. Untap, Therapy. At this point, I think I want to concede. Let's move on to the next game. I want Source to Plowshares, definitely want Withered Wretch. I think Scented Swarm is good enough. Don't care about Plagues. Do we even want the Ray of Revelation? Definitely no Octavi. Bone Shredder sounds decent. Wave sounds okay. Is this a Palinchron matchup? I think it may be a Palinchron matchup, actually. Definitely want Monk. I think I'll have a Ray. I think this may be a Palinchron matchup. Let's cut a Hermit. Cut a Wall of Roots. We can cut Krovic and Horror, because this is not a matchup where like I can just go infinite and then we win. Like there's nothing Stan can have that will get around me. Am I cutting both Hermits? Nah, I don't think so. Cabal Therapy is good. Scented Swarm is good. I think I cut another Wall of Roots. And maybe a Recurrent Nightmare? Let's go with that. Maybe I can cut the Parallax Wave. But a Wave going infinite with Auramancer is kind of reasonable. This hand looks decent. Would have loved to have a Black Source, but I think this is good enough to play a basic Forest and send the turn back. Yavimaya Coast, turn 1 Careful Study. I think I'm still playing Wall of Roots on turn 2. Squee, Cradle. And his Careful Studies have sucked. Portent would have been better both times. So play around Counter Magic or play around Naturalize. I think I'm gonna play around Counter Magic. If he has Naturalize, this is awful for me, but C'est la vie, Tranquil Domain. Yeah, so sad. Okay, here's the Wall of Roots. Oh, please Wasteland me. Yes, awesome. That's very good for me. My Black Source, please. Where's my Black Source? Throwing this Academy Rector onto the battlefield right now. It would definitely suck if my opponent has Gilded Drake, I'll tell you that much. Don't think I can really play around Gilded Drake, however. Definitely block. 100%. Not playing around Stifle. If you could have another Naturalize, I still get 1 activation, which gets me another Academy Rector. Pyrokinesis, Pitching Squee. Okay, I'm gonna float a mana because it's free. I think I just get Recurrent Nightmare instead of Survival then. Hey, a Black Source. Mesmeric Fiend. I don't think I can just like YOLO a Therapy right now. I want to make sure that I hit Rootwala in response and Arrogant Worm. Not bad. Gonna take some damage here. Take 5. Suddenly a clock. Squee. And I guess I'm gonna play that. Does slow down the clock. No blocks. Another swing for 5. Untap. This is not working out for me. This is very much not working out for the good guys. Pass the turn. Gonna chump the Rootwalla here, because it forces him to use mana. So if I draw survival, maybe I have a chance. But it's not looking great. Black, huh? Black mana. Interesting. Big yike. So I guess I have to double chump now. Can still therapy the Arrogant Worm away, but I'm infinitely far behind here. I could get a wave, or if I get a Rector, I can Rector into wave, or I can just draw another blank. Alright, that's it for this round, I guess. Can't even chomp my way out of this. I feel like this game came down to my opponent's hand being kind of awkward, as Madness hands are, but mine being more awkward and me playing around the wrong things. So had I played around Counterspell instead of a removal spell, I would have gotten at least 2 activations from Survival, which would have actually put me super far ahead, I believe. So I should have led with Wall of Roots before playing Survival. So I just chose the wrong thing to play around. It's possible that Stan actually sideboarded some counter magic out because of all the discard. So maybe because of that, I should have gone for something else instead. I should have gone for just leaning on Wall of Roots, and then if my opponent wants to do nothing for an entire turn cycle, then that's totally fine with me, because then they cannot actually develop, right? So I feel like that was like a misjudgment on my part, which could have been very easily solved had I sequenced differently. So I feel like this game kind of came down to that. So next time I'll do the opposite. Good to learn. See you for the next, like probably our last match, because I don't think we're gonna be able to make it to the top 4. This hand looks pretty bad, so I'm gonna ship it. This looks worse actually. Let's go to 5. This one does look decent. Okay, I like this hand. So let's keep this. And we have good mana, so I'm going to bottom the City of Brass. And I guess I'm going to bottom the Recurring Nightmare. Even though it's a nice engine, I think that I want to immediately punished. I'm going to name Survival here. Like if my opponent is indeed playing a Survival list, we lose. Ooh, awesome. We hit. Very cool. Madness again. Back-to-back Madness gamers. One then taps out for Waterfront Bouncer. Man, this is not looking good here. So this is actually quite nice, because we get to play our wall. Opponent can't... Oh my god. Oof, that's brutal. Opponent just taps out for Mongrel. It's a good draw for them. I mean, if they want to bounce my Wall of Blossoms, I'm all about that. Okay, I'm not gonna show them that I'm playing white. I guess I showed them when they weed Cephalid, so that sucks, but I'm gonna shift the turn back. Maybe this is incorrect. Maybe I shouldn't have played out the Burst of Paradise, and I should have held it in case I draw Survival. Yeah, I don't like that line that I took. Opponent casts Study. Opponent could be playing white or not. We don't really know. They discard Wild Mongrel? Interesting. I mean, that has to mean that they draw another Survival, right? I mean, if my opponent wants to dump a bunch of cards into Mongrel there, I'm down. I know that they didn't draw any Squeeze or anything like that, so... this sucks. We're flooding very, very badly. Play a land and pass the turn back. Unless we don't even care about this mana leak. We have successfully blanked the mana leak entirely. I'm gonna continue blocking this Wild Mongrel. Like if my opponent wants to pump mana into Rootwalla, that's kind of fine for me. Untap. Please don't be another land. Squee. They did find Squee. Uktabi. Yeah, that really sucks. Bird. Llanowar Waste as the turn. Holding on to this Uktabi just basically to pitch to Survival. Opponent draws Wasteland. Doesn't really matter. Make the same block again. We know opponent has a Squee now, but we're gonna continue to do this. Cabal Therapy, play Brushland, say go. Opponent has an island that they're not playing out. Oh, they drew one there. Yeah, no, this is no good anymore. So let's fetch. No blocks this turn. Untap, please anything. Bone Shredder. Okay, so we're gonna Cabal Therapy. Name Mana Leak. Frantic Search and Response. Bone Shredder, why did you have to be non-black creature? Such a terrible clause. So Island and Squee were discarded. I'm just gonna name Mana Leak here. Oh, he forgot to untap. Not that it really matters. I'm gonna name Mana Leak just to guarantee that I hit. Mana Leak, Counterspell, Daze. Play my land. Bone Shredder. I think I'm gonna kill the Bouncer. Send the turn back. And now I'm going to block their Rootwalla. We found an island, which means they get to hold up Counterspell. But I'm not paying Echo anyway, so because I need to draw something and use my mana, otherwise I'm not gonna be able to pull ahead. So this is basically a free block. Opponent just going for one. Makes sense. Survival or something of relevance or another land. At this point, I don't think I can draw anything anymore, so I'm just gonna concede. We have been having some garbage draws today. Our deck has not been cooperating, unfortunately for us. Just bringing all of these 1-drops and the Wretch, and maybe I do want Palinchron in this matchup. Definitely don't want Uktabi. Bone Shredder seems good enough. Nightmare, we can probably cut. Second Hermit, we can cut. I don't care about Plague. Spike Feeder seems reasonable. I'm gonna cut the Pally. 3 cards. Cut the Veteran Explorer, Wall of Roots, and Kraken Horror. Just go with that. We're on the play. This hand sounds very reasonable. I'm into this. So I'm going to cast Cabal Therapy on turn 1. And I think I'm going to name Survival. The other thing would be to name Wild Mongrel. Double Arrogant Worm. They could have cast Careful Study and they didn't. Do they have a null? I think I'm gonna go with Survival here to play around my Mana Leak. An island. I could go get Carrion Feeder. Pitch Bone Shredder. Get Squee. Pitch Squee. If my opponent wants to Mana Leak the Bone Shredder, I'm kind of okay with that. The Carrion Feeder, sorry. I'm just setting things up here. But I'm interested in getting the engine started. That's why I did that. This turn I'm gonna get a wall and then I'm gonna flashback Cabal Therapy. Because we have to get rid of both of these Arrogant Worms. They discard one, throw one away. It's quite interesting. Play Abimaya Coast. Still gonna cast a Therapy here. And we can get a wall. So cast Cabal Therapy. Counter spell. Pretty aggressive. Squee, get Wall of Blossoms. Play Wall of Blossoms, draw a card. And I do think that I'm gonna Therapy the Arrogant Worm here. Gilded Drake and Wasteland. Gilded Drake is definitely a card. They pump. They're being pretty aggressive. These are kind of fine actually. So pitch Squee, get another wall. I guess this one's gonna be Roots. Play Bird, play Scented Swarm. Careful Study, which is pretty bad right here. This is always my issue with this deck. It's like, yeah, like my opponent just discarded 2 cards for no reason. Gilded Drake is being cast. I'm super into this. Yeah, all of my creatures are worse than the Gilded Drake. So I'm very excited about this. So now we get to do recurring Nightmare things if we want. So let's pitch Squee. Nothing in the graveyard that we care about. So let's just get Academy Rector and cast it. And Flashback Therapy. Gonna say yes. Get recurring Nightmare. And they could have Counterspell. They have Water for a bouncer. Okay, that kind of makes sense. I'm going to swing with the Drake, and I think I'm just going to sack the Drake to get a Wall of Blossoms. Send the turn back. Rootwalla doesn't do anything. This game is just locked up. They play the bouncer, I just do Recurring Nightmare again, get back Bone Shred. So this game is now effectively over. Scented Swarm. Don't want anything to do with my opponent doing stuff. Good block. Good block right there. Play Nightmare, get back Bone Shredder, kill the bouncer, recast Nightmare, Wall of Blossoms again, and I might as well play this Bird of Paradise right here. It's the turn back. We get another Squee activation. We're just firing in all cylinders. Only thing I don't want to get cheesed out by is if my opponent, if they top deck like a Wonder. I guess I'm gonna get Spike Feeder. They don't really have a board state anyway, so not sure really what I'm scared of at this point. Scented Swarm triggers. Now we're going to cast Recurring Nightmare, Nightmare the Shredder, kill the Rootwalla, cast Recurring Nightmare again, get back the wall. And I guess we can cast Recurring Nightmare again. Thing is, does it matter? I don't think it does. I'm just gonna play the Spike Feeder, make sure that I don't get cheesed out. Mongrel in the house. Might as well draw a card on end step. Gonna get Wretch. So we can actually kill the Mongrel. I mean, I'm not gonna show them Source to Plowshares, but this, unless my opponent like preemptively discards whatever they have in hand. Okay, so they do this, they make the Mongrel black, but now Bone Shredder is gonna kill the Arrogant Worm instead of the Mongrel. So we're still in the same spot, and incorrectly making the Wild Mongrel black. So now 2, 3, get the Bone Shredder, kill the worm, and Recurring Nightmare, get Carrion Feeder here, send it back. Opponent backs it in and we move on to game number 3. The setup seems pretty reasonable. Maybe I want a second Recurring Nightmare. I'm unclear about Grave Vormuse. Array is also another card that is very interesting. I think I'm gonna go with this though. This hand is just bad. No interaction, just a couple of like dumb walls, nowhere to go. This one does have somewhere to go. I think I like this a little bit better. So let's keep this, but on the brush land. This hand is definitely a little bit on the sketchy side, because it relies so much on this deranged hermit actually resolving. Bird of Paradise, pass the turn back, Wild Mongrel. Pretty nice pickup. Let's go with the survival. And I'd rather get an activation than playing out the Bird of Paradise. So let's pitch the bird here. And I'm not going to play around removal. My opponent can blow me out here, but that's a nice pickup though. Very nice pickup. So I think I want some painless mana here. So I'm just going to go with Sanded Swarm. Because getting Sanded Swarm needs to be countered, and it allows me to play around Daze. Resolved. Very interesting. So I guess they have Arrogant Worm. They discard the Worm here, which they do. I'm going to wait for them to pay. And then I'll plow the Wild Mongrel. Because next turn I can just Bone Shredder the Arrogant Worm. We don't really care about it. While the Mongrel enables my opponent's deck. Naturalize. Now it's a little bit... We can still Deranged Hermit though. Queen not doing much. Swing with the Swarm. And now 9 power. I see your 4 power. And I raise you 9 power. Double Rootwalla. Sounds fine. Sanded Swarm's doing work. Only 2 cards in hand. My opponent has not really been able to get much value. They have their own survival though. Kinda need to find my survival now. A little bit all in on this Deranged Hermit. They're short on mana. One thing they could do here is go get Drake and just steal my Deranged Hermit, which is pretty hilarious actually. Serve. This is an interesting attack. So I'm gonna take 4 and I'm gonna double block both of these Basking Rootwallas. If my opponent wants to pump both to kill 2 of my squirrels, this is a fantastic exchange for me. That was my opponent's entire turn. 1 card in hand. I think they just don't have a creature. I think that's what's going on. Okay, that's game. That is game. They can't discard, so I might as well swing for 1 with the Deranged Hermit here. And now we can go play survival, pitch Squee, get Monk, warranty that my opponent, their engine is not going anywhere. And if they have another Naturalize, I can always pitch my Wall of Blossoms to go with Auramancer. Definitely taking this trade. Their hand is Pyrokinesis. Pyrokinesis would be incredible here regardless, so might as well take the trade while I can. And now we just run away with the game. I think they have like a counter spell or something in hand, so this game is just pretty much over. Pitch Squee. We could just get Mesmeric Fiend here. Carrion Feeder. Actually, I'll just get Rector. So my opponent can go end step, Frantic Search into Worm. That's basically the best they can do. Yeah, we're done here. My cards are fine, so I'm not gonna pitch them to survival. I was just saving the activation in case my opponent has an Auramancer or something. It's gonna swing, no triggers, and now we're gonna get Carrion Feeder. So now it begins. Play land, and I guess I might as well get back the Bird of Paradise. Sacrifice Rector, say yes, get Recurrent Nightmare, get back a bird, sacrificing the wall. Oh, I should have sacrificed the Hermit actually, and get back Hermit. Actually, let's just guarantee that we can't lose. So this means my opponent can't Wonder Cheese me. Waterfront Bouncer. Good old Rector control. Gets there once again. Untap, get back Squee. Play a land because might as well. I love that this deck takes so long to win. It's pretty hilarious. It takes long to win until it doesn't anymore, right? It's kind of the joke. So now, let's go pitch Squee. Get Mesmeric Fiend. Play Fiend. And trigger on the stack. Gonna sacrifice the Mesmeric Fiend. This exiles a card for good. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for to have a bunch of counter magic. Take this back. Get Wall of Blossoms, pitch in the Deranged Hermit, and once again now we set up lethal. Even if they find survival into, like, they can't find survival into Warden. Never mind, there's no outs. Literally no outs here. Now gonna be paying Echo. Opponent has seen enough, and we go on to 2-on-2. So not terrible, not great either, but some cool math. So we ended up in 9th place of 14. I liked a lot of things about this deck. I also thought some of them were rough, and once again, like, the mana is a little bit shaky, so I feel like you just have to learn to live with that. It is just the way it is. But besides that, we had some interesting matches. I feel like, I mean, the one against Hardy, it was in the cards. I thought it's him or whatever. Like, I took their card and then he literally top decked the best possible the 1 card kill. So that's just gonna happen against that kind of deck. So I don't think there was much I could have done there. But the match that I lost against Stan, I think that was a lot closer, especially because I think that in that game 2, it all came down to an error in sequencing on my part. So rightfully, I lost that one. But we kind of ran over the mono blue control deck, which is kind of cool. It's kind of where you want to be, you know, with a deck like this. And then we beat Blue Green Madness as well. I feel like the deck, just like many survival decks, you kind of want to try hard to figure out where the sweet spot is between playing lands and playing creatures. 22 lands is definitely on the heavier side, but this deck, as we just saw, is very mana hungry when it's actually doing its thing, and it needs to use a bunch of mana every turn in order to actually pull ahead. Its curve is also a little bit shaky, and most notably, you need more actual lands so that you can get your colors right. Veteran Explorer, like, it's not a card that should be ever counted as a land. Like, this is basically like a combo piece, either with the actual combo with Pally or just like therapy plus Veteran Explorer. Like, that's combo. Being a little bit generous with the terminology, but I don't think that you want to play more than this, and like playing more Veteran Explorers also does not really it does not satisfy your color quota, so it's not like you can play more Veteran Explorers and just say, oh yeah, I can maybe I cut a land for a Vetex, and like that's actually going to make your mana worse, not better. So I think that 22 lands, even though in terms of actual lands is a little bit on the heavy side, in terms of the actual colors that you want, we only have like 16 green and 11 black and white, which are actually very low, especially against Stan. Like, we really wanted to play this Withered Wretch, and we just never got the double black mana. And that is on top of the fact that our mana is very painful, because we're getting black mana through Caves of Coil, City Brass, Llanowar Wastes, which is fine, because Veteran Explorer can find your swamps once you're actually comboing off, but in terms of just naturally casting your spells makes things a lot trickier. So it's definitely interesting. I still don't know how many Academy Rectors I want to play. Maybe this is just a 2 Rector deck, in which case if I cut the Rector, I would want to maybe replace it with a Graveborn Muse, just put the Muse in the main deck. Once again, BB is not easy to achieve, but we kind of have to draw the line somewhere. Like, it would actually allow us to maybe have room for one more sideboard card that we can set up. So I actually don't think that we want to lean too much on Academy Rector, so that's definitely something to consider as well. Recurrent Nightmare was very good, and I was definitely surprised by how, once again, like how decent of a control deck this is. Krovikan Horror as the win condition feels just the better line. The thing with Trike is definitely reasonable for MTGO purposes if you don't think your opponent's going to concede. But if you wanted to build your deck properly, I feel like Krovikan Horror is the better card to be playing in that slot. And having said that, the combo itself, we never really put it together, and we side it out basically every game, which, makes you think, okay, so then which matchups do I actually want the combo for? And that's a good question. That's definitely a good question. We played against a bunch of mid-range decks today and control decks, which is not what you want the combo for. You want the combo for the more aggressive strategies and stuff like that. But maybe I was being too aggressive in how I was sideboarding the combo out. The problem is, like, these are cards that are not particularly great by themselves, so that's something that you want to keep in mind. So at that point, you would be having access to the combo for novelty purposes, which is a legitimate thing. Like, you just want to do the thing, which is cool. Or you could have it for like actual reasons, which would require your opponent to not be playing a faster combo deck than you are. So you want to be doing this against specifically like Replenish and stuff like that. If you're playing against like the Cephalid Breakfast deck that we played earlier today, I feel like the combo is just not going to work out super well there. There's that. So against faster combo, it's not particularly great, but I would want it against, let's say, decks like Elves, decks like Replenish, where I cannot like afford to pass the turn back. So against Replenish, I would definitely keep the combo. Like any sort of Storm deck, or even against a Stasis deck, I feel like I would cut it out. But against a Storm deck that can just top deck out of it and just kill me on the crackback, I feel like those kind of matchups I would need to hold on to the combo, and it would be useful there. Those were none of the matchups that we faced today, so maybe it's just not worth it based on raw numbers. I don't know. It's still like a cool deck, and I did like how well it functioned. But in terms of playing the mid-range deck, I did enjoy the other one, the Pebbles deck, a little bit better. Even though the mana was worse, I was very pleasantly surprised by how good like Sharpshooter and Bombardment work for that deck. Like, I thought that they did an insane amount of work. I felt like it just played a better mid-range deck in consequence. So I feel like the actual combo pieces are so much better in that deck, or like the not the combo pieces, but like the cards that fill out the deck are just better in that deck than in here. Like Veteran Expo is just a bad card, and obviously like Padding Kron and Krovikan Horror, they're not necessarily great cards. So still an interesting strategy to develop, and I could definitely see myself playing this deck in the future, mostly because it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed looking for the lines, and I just really, I mean, in case you haven't figured out by now, Survival is my favorite card in a lot of Premodern, so any survival deck is gonna pique my interest. But I don't know if this is the way to go. Basically, that's my final thought. And if this is like it as a strategy, I'm not sure if this is the list. I feel like it's close. You can definitely play like a real game of Magic with this list, but I don't think that this is the final 75. That being said, that's gonna be it for me today, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day. Take care, and bye bye.